All right, so we're going to pick up part two of the reading. Remember, in part one, um, the place got set on fire. People were just about to leave for work. The whole factory is made of extremely flammable stuff. Um, the fire department just arrived, and the elevators in this last paragraph here that we read before, it said the operator made several trips up and down before the elevator tracks bent from the heat, and then the elevator was no longer usable. So we're going to pick up right here with those who could.
Them out of action. Those who could not board elevators rushed the stairway door. They caused a pileup so that those in front could not open the door. Whenever someone tried to get it open, the crowd pinned her against it. All the girls were falling on me, and they squeezed me to the door, Ida Walensky recalled. 3 times I said to the girls, "Please, girls, let me open the door, please." But they would not listen to me. Finally, Cutter Lewis Brown barged through the crowd and forced the door open.
So the first question for this reading is: I want you to describe how you would feel if you were Ida Walensky. Remember, she's trying to get the door open, but there's a mob of people behind her, all trying to get out. But the door opens inward, so she can't pull the door when she's being pushed. So, one is: how would you feel if you were Ida Walensky? Make sure to answer in a full and complete sentence. All right, now that you've answered question one, let's move on with the reading.
Workers, shouting, crying, and gasping for air, slowly made their way downstairs. There were no lights in the stairway, so they had to grope their way in darkness. A girl fell. Others fell on top of her, blocking the stairs, until firefighters arrived moments later. Yet everyone who took the stairway from the 8th floor got out alive, exiting through the Washington Place doors. Those on the 9th floor were not so lucky. New Yorkers say that March comes in like a lion, with cold wind, and leaves like a lamb, with April's warm showers. Now, as fire raged on the 8th floor, the elevator shafts became wind tunnels. Wind gusts made eerie sounds, like the howling of great beasts in pain, while sucking flaming embers upward. On the 9th floor, embers landed on piles of finished shirtwaists and cans of oil used to make the sewing machines run smoothly. Instantly, the air itself seemed to catch fire.
All right, so in this paragraph, the author uses at least two metaphors. Now remember, a metaphor is to compare something to something else. So if I said the student was a monster, I'm not saying they actually are a monster, but they're like a monster. So what I want you to do is I want you to identify one metaphor for question two, one metaphor that the author uses in this paragraph. All right, moving on with the story.
Had there been fire drills, surely more would have survived. Unfortunately, confusion reigned. Workers had to make life and death decisions in split seconds amid fire, smoke, and panic.
And this is why we have fire drills so many times at school, so we all know what to do. Now, for this word, um, I want you to make a guess. What do you think this word means? Reigned. It says, unfortunately, confusion reigned. All right. So it said, had there been fire drills, surely more would have survived. Unfortunately, but confusion reigned. So it seemed to be saying something about confusion in this situation. So for question three, I want you to make a guess of what you think reigned means. All right, so hopefully you've now made your guess. Remember, making guesses actually help you become smarter. Um, Here it means reign. If something reign over something else, it means they dominate it or control it. Kings reign. And here it is in Spanish, if that needs or if that helps you understand it even better. So now let's continue on with the reading. And as we read, I want you to imagine what it would be like to actually be there.
It was everyone for themselves. I was throwing them out of the way, Mary Buccelli said of the women near her. No matter whether they were in front of me or coming from in back of me, I was pushing them down. I was only looking out for my own life. Mary joined others who ran to the Green Street stairway. They made it down to the street or up to the 10th floor in the roof before flames blocked this escape route. Others headed for the elevators and stairway on the Washington Place side of the building. Forcing open the doors to the elevator shaft, they looked down and saw an elevator starting what would be its last trip from the 8th floor. I reached out and grabbed the cables, wrapped my legs around them and started to slide down, recalled Samuel Levine, a sewing machine operator. While on my way down, as slow as I could let myself drop, the bodies of 6 girls went falling past me. One of them struck me, and I fell on top of the elevator. I fell on the dead body of a girl. Finally, I heard the firemen cutting their way into the elevator shaft, and they came and let me.
All right. Oh, wow, dude. That's crazy. All right. This dude, just like I seen in a movie, is trying to slide down the cables of the elevator, and girls who apparently have died above him, either from being burned or suffocation from the smoke, are falling down the elevator shaft. All right. And then finally, the firemen came and let him out. All right. And here's just a picture here. This is, by the way, is how the firemen came. Was on a horse. Okay, a horse and carriage. It wasn't like we had fire trucks today. All right, and imagine the equipment that they had back then that's in this carriage. Not like the equipment we have today. Um, all right, let's continue. Just a few more chapters for this part, or paragraphs for this part.
Those who reached the 9th floor stairway door found it locked. This was not unusual, as employers often locked doors to discourage latecomers and keep out union organizers. "My God, I am lost!" cried Margaret Schwartz, as her hair caught fire. Nobody who went to that door survived, nor any who reached the windows. With a wave of fire rolling across the room, workers rushed to the windows, only to meet more fire. Hot air expands. Unless it escapes, pressure will keep building, eventually blowing a hole even in a heavy iron container like a boiler. Heat and pressure blew out the 8th floor windows. Firefighters call the result lapping in. That is, sucking flames into open windows above. That is why you see black scorch marks on the wall above the window of a burnt-out room.
So it says a fire makes a room in a building explode like a can of soda that was shaken. And if you're standing by a window trying to get out or by a door, the fire is going to actually escape out with the air. And just imagine what happens to you if you're standing there.
With fire advancing from behind and flames rising before them, people knew they were doomed. Whatever they did meant certain death. By remaining in the room, they chose death by fire or suffocation. Jumping 95 feet to the ground meant death on the sidewalk. We cannot know what passed through the minds of those who decided to jump. Yet their thinking, in those last moments of life, may have gone like this: if I jump, my family will have a body to identify and bury. But if I stay in this room,
There will be nothing left. So, question 4 is, according to the author, why might have some of the girls decided to jump and fall the 95 feet? All right. So you're going to draw conclusions, and according to the author, why did some of the girls decide to jump?